Hi, today's video is what is disaster planning. I've done another video on what is disaster recovery, and although they're connected, they are different. So recovery is about what happens afterwards, planning is about what happens before. And if you don't do disaster planning, you're going to have real problems with disaster recovery in the future. So the whole thing about planning is thinking ahead. And it's unlikely that you're going to be able to think of all possible eventualities, all things that might go wrong. So rather than necessarily trying to consider all the possible threats, you may need to think about all the possible things that you could do to fix. Or more importantly, maybe, what are the things that you need to be able to continue your business or continue your organization or continue whatever you're doing if the worst happened, whatever the worst might be. Maybe it's remote access. Maybe it's allowing people to get into a building. Maybe it's about continuing to have electrical power. Maybe it's about making sure that you've got data backups. But you need to work out, firstly, what are the things you need to continue your business or operating, and then what all the things that could happen, I suppose, or ways that you could recover if something happened to each or all of those. And you may not be able to cover all possibilities, but the more things you've thought through, the better. Now, there's one other thing that I absolutely must stress, really, really important, which is it's not worth just planning. You need to practice. And you need to practice on a regular basis. Maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a year, probably at least once a year. But if you haven't practiced what happens, it's not going to work when you actually need to do it. And that's not just running through a list of things. It's getting people in a room, maybe people in separate rooms. Maybe that's part of what you need to plan, and seeing what happens if you sort of work through it. At least a paper exercise where everyone goes through the motions, even if they're not doing the things. But even better, if you can practice, bringing some systems down, bringing them back up. Even if you're not doing exactly what's in there, understanding what needs to happen. The other thing, of course, is that some people may not be available. So part of the disaster may be that they can't get to a phone, or they don't have access to the internet, or whatever it may be. So you need to work out all of those parts of that and as many options as you have. As I said, it's unlikely you're going to consider the exact disaster that's going to happen, but the more planning you've done, the better. The other thing to remember is what happens when people leave or join your organization. What does that mean in terms of their roles? What needs to happen? So think about that, and that should all be part of your disaster planning. I'll put a link to the disaster recovery video in at the bottom of this in the description. If you've got questions about this, or in fact any other issue or question around cybersecurity, please get in touch, subscribe to the channel, and I'll do what I can to explain.